All right, folks, welcome back. It's time for our next 6.5 Grendel video. And I'm pretty excited about today's bullet. It is the 120 grain Speer Gold Dot. We shot the 140 grain 6.5 millimeter Speer Gold Dot in 6.5 Creedmoor a little while back, and they shot awesome. I also shot a 62 grain version in 223, and it shot well. So these seem to be good bullets. This 120 grain weight should be just about perfect for the Grendel, and I'm thinking this is going to be an excellent choice for like a deer bullet in the Grendel, because I've shot a couple of these guys into ballistic gel, the 22 caliber, 62 grainer and the 140 grainer, and the weight retention is amazing. They mushroom out and hold their weight just like I like in my deer hunting bullets. So I'm really hoping that my Grendel barrel is going to play nicely with these 120 grainers. Now, Speer gives us load data for the 6.5 Grendel. How cool is that? And the highest velocity powder they list is Power Pro 2000 MR. And the numbers are pretty crazy. I think I've shot a little bit of 2000 MR with some 140 grain bullets in the Grendel, but this will be my first experience with it in a 120, 123, kind of class bullet. So I'm hoping it's going to do well. Power Pro 2000 MR just seems to be magical. Heavy bullets in 223 and the 224 Valkyrie. The velocity numbers are just insane. So I'm hoping for the same here in the Grendel, and the Speer load data certainly seems to indicate that. And you'll see they show a max charge of 31.4 grains. The other powder I want to test is AR comp. I've had pretty good accuracy in the Grendel with AR comp. We're going to be a couple hundred feet per second slower with this powder than we are with Power Pro 2000 MR, but that's okay. I just wanted to choose something a little bit faster burning for our second option and an extruded powder. So AR comp seems to fit the bill. The Speer load data shows a max charge of 25.3 grains. So that's what we're going to shoot. We're going to shoot up to the max charge with both of these. We'll shoot some 0.4 of a grain increments. So 2000 MR, we're starting at 29.8 grains. AR comp, we're starting at 23.7. Our brass is Hornady brass. This stuff has been fired 3 times. So this will be the 4th firing on this batch of brass. It's still holding up really well. And for primers, we're going to shoot the CCI 450 Magnum small rifle primers. That's what we've been shooting in our last few videos with the Grendel, and they've been doing a decent job. So is that about it? Overall length, I'm going to shoot 2.280 because that is what fits in my magazine. I want to load to magazine length. So 2.280. I was looking at the maximum overall length in my 18-inch Faxon barrel, and I think it was in the 2.370 range. So we've got about 90 thousandths of jump to the lands. So that's it. I don't want to waste a bunch of time today. Let's try and make this video short and sweet. Our brass has already been resized. I checked the length. None of them needed trimmed for this firing. So resized, chamfer on the case mouth. The CCI 450 primers are already installed, so I'm ready for powder. I'll do that, and I'll see you guys over at the bullet seating die. All right, this should be pretty straightforward. The other versions of this bullet we've shot have seated really nicely and easily. I'm using a Hornady custom grade seating die with the MicroJust seating stem adjuster thingy. I've got a seating stem installed that fits this bullet very nicely, so this should be extremely easy. So let's get started. Our target, 2.280 inches, so that we can fit in the magazine. 2.36. So let's go down 80. Okay, that ought to be just about perfect. So I went ahead and finished up the first row, and a couple of them are a few thousandths long, like 2.283. I'll tell you what, let's just tweak it down about 3 thousandths and see where that puts us. All right, so I've got our magazine length set now, and now I'm going to switch to the Hornady bullet comparator, and we'll see what the number to the ogive is. Some of these Power Pro 2000 MR loads are going to be pretty compressed, and the bullet comparator makes it a whole lot easier to monitor overall length here as we go along. Looks like 1.731 is the number here. 1.732, 1.7315, and 1.7315. Okay, so that'll be the plan. As I move along, I'll monitor things and make sure that they all stay right at that 1.731 number with the comparator. I better write that down. Now, I have come across one problem. I thought I bought 2 boxes of these bullets, but I only bought 1, and they come in boxes of 50. So I'm loading up the whole box here. The problem with that is I don't have any leftovers to load up additional rounds to shoot into ballistic gel. So I think what I'm going to do is our top 2 loads with Power Pro 2000 MR, those are going to be the highest velocity. So I'll make those 4-shot groups. That way I keep 2 rounds back to shoot into ballistic gel. Tell you what, I just jumped forward to the max charge of Power Pro 2000 MR and didn't get any overall length change. And I'm actually getting a little bit of powder movement, so these aren't compressed after all. I really figured they would be. So that makes it easy. I won't have to do any tweaks to our overall length. So that's it, folks. Nice and easy. I'll tell you what, I'll give you a look at these guys. These bullets do have an interesting finish, kind of a dull finish, pretty cool looking. That's just a good looking round right there. So I'll tell you what, let's get out to the range and see if they'll shoot. Okay, folks, it's time to get started. This is our gun. It's got an 18-inch Faxon heavy fluted barrel. I'm shooting with my Silencer Co. Omega suppressor. I've got my MagnetoSpeed chronograph on there. This is a 6-to-24 power Vortex Viper PST Gen 1. I'll be shooting on 24 power. The target is at 100 yards. The dots are 1 inch, and I think that pretty much covers it. So a while back, my small magazine, my 10-round magazine, started giving me feeding problems. So the last few Grendel videos, we've been using one of these big, I think they're 20 or 22, I don't even remember how many they hold, but the larger magazine, it's a pain in the butt because I have to break my position to get it in and out. So what I'm hoping to use today is this 10-round 6.8 SPC magazine. They look nearly identical, the Grendel and the 6.8 magazines. I don't know if there's much difference. When I was sighting in the gun, I took 5 or 6 shots to get it sighted in, and this guy fed just fine, so that's what we're going to use. But if we run into any feeding problems, I'll switch over and use this big guy. So first up is Power Pro 2000 MR. Our first charge weight is 29.8 grains. Let's see how they shoot. All right, I like that start. Not a bad group. Excellent standard deviation of 5.2. The extreme spread on that was 14. So the velocity is nice and low. Hopefully we see a pretty steep climb as we move up the charge weights. So let's do that. 30.2 grains is next. Yeah, that second shot dropping low opened that group up a little bit, and we're kind of got a little horizontal stringing thing going on here, don't we? But overall, not bad. Brass is looking great, by the way. So we're moving on. 30.6 grains is next. Okay, that's a little bit better group. Brass is still looking great. Now, remember, these next two groups are going to be our 4-shot groups because I need to save a couple rounds to shoot into ballistic gel. So 31.0, 4-shot group. I really need to make a scope adjustment, but I don't want to do that right here in the middle. We'll do it after we finish this group with Power Pro 2000 MR. So I must admit, I was hoping that we would be comfortably above 2,400 feet per second here. And it doesn't look like we're even going to hit 2,400 feet per second. You know, we do have some case capacity left. So far, the brass all looks good, so we might be able to push a little bit beyond max to get there. But it's just tough with, you know, this is an 18-inch barrel. Keep that in mind. All of the velocity numbers you'll get on the load data and stuff are with a 24-inch barrel. So that extra 6 inches of barrel is a couple hundred feet per second in this cartridge. So I don't know, if I had it to do over again, I may not go with an 18-inch. I might have gone with a 20-inch, but I really do like the handling of an 18-incher, especially with the suppressor on there. Like, this is a nice deer hunting setup. I don't shoot long range anyway, especially when I'm hunting. So it's annoying for the velocities to be a little bit slow, but to be honest, I don't really need it, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, here I was hoping we'd be over 2,400. All right, last up, 31.4 grains. Okay, so those aren't the greatest groups in the world. You know, average, we might be able to call it, but it could have been worse. I tell you what, let's go up 1.5 minutes on the scope. Is that enough? Yeah, 1.75 minutes. There we go. We'll try that out. All right, so I'm going to give the gun a minute to cool down a little bit. Although this fluted barrel does a really, really good job of staying cool. But the suppressor gets hot and starts having some mirage, so we'll give it a minute. Okay, moving right along. Next up is AR comp. Our first charge is 23.7 grains. I expect these velocities to drop quite a bit, but hopefully we'll see some better accuracy. I don't know, let's find out. So 2,207 feet per second, that's not bad. Like, that's only 19 feet per second slower than our starting charge with 2,000 MR. That's a surprise. I'm interested to see where this goes. 24.1 grains is next. So that was a pretty nice group. 24.5 is next. So it's interesting to watch the standard deviations here get better and better as we go along, when it was the exact opposite with Power Pro 2000 MR. The higher we went in charge weight, the crappier the numbers got. So our brass still looks great. Next up, 24.9. So I just had to open my big fat mouth and our standard deviation got bigger. Still a pretty decent group. Brass is still looking good. So let's finish it off. 25.3 grains. Don't screw it up. Screwed it up a little bit. Still not bad. So that was our most impressive group, our best standard deviation of the day. And AR comp made it over 2,300 feet per second. I really thought this velocity gap between the two powders was going to be much larger. The only thing I can think is, 2000 MR is a pretty slow burning powder. Maybe we just didn't have enough barrel length to take advantage of it. I don't know. We'll discuss that when we get back to the bench. But I've got 2 rounds I need to shoot through ballistic gel. I don't have time this evening, so I don't know if I'll film it it might be a rush job after work one day this week. I don't know. So I don't know what's next. I'll either see you guys at some ballistic gel or I'll see you back at the bench. All right, folks, it's a couple days later and I was able to shoot these rounds into the ballistics gel. I had like 30 seconds of daylight left when I got home from work and was able to get it done. Now, you'll notice this gel is well used at this point. I really need to melt it down, but that's a pain in the butt and I've been putting it off. So I can't really show you like the wound channel and all that crap. I'm mainly interested in how they expanded. Now, this is the second of the blocks. I had 2 blocks in series. They're 16-inch blocks. So right there's one of the bullets right there. And then the other one is right back here. Don't know if you'll be able to see it or not, but it's right there. So this is about 4 inches into the second block, which gives us about 20 inches of penetration in this, janky used up ballistic gel. So let's dig these things out. Okay, one thing I forgot to mention, the one right here that's close to the edge, I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and pop it out. There it is. This dude hit the table that the gel was sitting on. You'll notice some splinters here. So like one of the petals or something hit the table. So there's that guy. Let's dig out the other dude. All right, there's that guy. So let's get an up close look at him. So this is the one that did not hit the table. The expansion with these is not nearly as dramatic as we saw with the 140 grainer in the Creedmoor or the 62 grainer in 223. We just didn't quite peel it back as far, did we? The other one looks a little bit better, but this is the one that hit the table a little bit. It does show the characteristic petals that we've seen with the others. I'll tell you what, let me grab one of the others. Yeah, see, this is what the Creedmoor did to a 140. That's one example, and then here's another. And this is that little 62 grainer that we shot in 223. You can see like total and complete expansion with all of those. But these, we had a little bit of unexpanded bullet. So the velocity on these was about 2,350 feet per second. That was about where we topped out with Power Pro 2000 MR. And I was close to the block. I was like maybe 5 to 7 yards away from the block when I shot them. So I think, this would certainly still get the job done. I have no doubt about that. But I was just kind of hoping for a little bit better. Maybe if we get a little bit more velocity, we can open these guys up a little bit better. I can tell you right now, I'm going to be ordering more of these, and maybe at a later date, I can shoot some in the Creedmoor and see how they perform in that. But certainly not bad. It would get the job done. I'll tell you what, even with slightly disappointing results, this is still looking like the best option. Like, I think this is going to be my Grendel deer hunting bullet. I'm going to order some more. We're going to be doing some more videos. Hopefully we can find the right powder to squeak out some more velocity and improve on this gel performance a touch. So as far as the brass and pressure signs go, I really don't have anything to show you here. Let's see, this is the max charge of 2000 MR. Our case heads look great. Primers are still nice and rounded. Nothing to see here at all. And it was the same story with AR comp, which, the way AR comp performed on the top end, I think I'm definitely going to be exploring maybe just a little bit more, a little above max. But AR comp is one of those powders you got to be careful with. Like several years ago in the very early Grendel videos, we didn't have nearly as much published load data to work from, so we were kind of making it up as we went, and I got myself into trouble once or twice with AR comp and pressure. But it looks like here we've got maybe a little bit of room to work with. Everything looks great. The standard deviations were just getting better and better as we went, so that might be something we try out. But at least here for brass, everything's looking great. All right, so let's have a closer look at the groups. These numbers are actually better than I thought they were, especially the 2000 MR row. Like when the groups are this far away from the dot, I have a hard time judging, without that dot close by to help me judge the size. I get a little bit confused. Like this, we shot some pretty darn good groups here with 2000 MR. The middle was the best at a 0.757 7-inch group. That first group was pretty darn good at 0.780. But the velocity here has got me completely baffled, like totally and completely baffled. Our max was 2,380 feet per second. If we go back to the Speer load data and look at what they list for max, for velocity for that max charge, we missed it by 240 feet per second. Remember, our barrel is 6 inches shorter, so we were never going to hit it. We were always going to be below it, but 240 seems like a lot, like a ton. Like I mentioned on the range, I don't know if it's barrel length, like the powder's so slow that we just don't have enough barrel length to get it all burnt. I really don't know. So super disappointing velocities here. Now this is the same lot number, the same can of 2000 MR that we've been using in 223 and 224 Valkyrie. So I know that like it's not like a bad lot number or something. So extremely disappointed that we didn't see the velocities we were hoping for there. Now on the other side of that, when we switched to AR comp, the velocity was surprisingly good. We made it up to 2,320 feet per second at the top end, and that's only 98 feet per second below what was on the load data sheet. So 6 inches less barrel, and we only missed it by 98 feet per second. Pretty good stuff. Now, AR comp just got better as we went up in charge weight. Our worst group was the first one at 1.291 inches. Our best was actually the fourth one at 0.692 inches, but that last group was definitely more impressive, right? Even though it was a little bit bigger at 0.723. That's good shooting. If I'm remembering correctly, I mean, these are some of the best groups we've shot with this barrel. So I'm very happy with the accuracy that we saw with this bullet. So I'm definitely going to be buying some more of these bullets. I want to keep working up a little bit with AR comp. I want to try some other powders that we've, traditionally had better velocity numbers with, like CFE 223 is a very good velocity powder, and Lever Evolution, and Accurate 2520, and I think it's Shooter's World Match Rifle. We found it to be very close to Accurate 2520 in our testing in 223 Remington, so I want to try that in the Grendel. So those are some ball powders I want to try. I also want to try probably Vitivori N540. Unfortunately, there's not that many good extruded powders that I know of, for high velocity in the Grendel, but I think Vitivori N540 might be a good candidate for some good numbers here with this bullet. So that'll be coming before too long, once I can order some more bullets. And I think these are getting hard to find, so it might be a little while before we can get back to it. I've bought a bunch more of these bullets. I brought them all out here for you. We've shot 3 of them so far. That 62 grain 22 caliber, and now the 120 and 140 and 6.5 millimeter. All 3 have been impressive. I picked up some of the 75 grain 22 caliber bullets. I actually picked up a couple hundred of them because I have really high hopes for that, because there's not that many heavy 22 caliber hunting bullets. So I'm looking forward to trying those guys out. And I also picked up the 150 grain and the 168 grain 30 caliber versions to try out in 308. So as you can tell, I'm a huge fan of these bullets, man. They are not disappointing. And today's ballistic gel results weren't quite as good as we had seen with the others so far, but I mean, it was still okay. It was pretty good. We just need to find some more freaking velocity here in the Grendel. I think that's all it would take. So I think that's about it, folks. I shot another 6.5 Grendel video alongside this one. It's the 107 grain Sierra Match King. I'm hoping to have this video out Wednesday morning, so the 107 grain Sierra Match King video will probably be out Friday morning. So I hope you'll come back and join me for that one, and I guess I'll see you then.